second part, I'm going to tell you what happens when you die, what it's like, and where you go on the other side, and the whole process. Okay. All right, well, now I've told you all the sequence of Earth School. So now I'm going to talk to you about what it's like to die and where you go afterwards. Okay. Because so many people are afraid of death, you don't realize you've already died thousands and thousands of times, every way you can possibly imagine. That's another part of your lessons. You're going to find out how it's like, what it's like to be murdered, to die in all kinds of different ways. I've had people die in every way you can possibly think of. Doesn't hurt them at all because you can't hurt the soul. Okay. But they're always afraid of the unknown. That's what it's afraid of. Afraid they're going into something that's unknown, not realizing all you're doing is going home. You're beautiful and wonderful, and you've done this process thousands of times, but you just forget when you come to Earth. Okay, let's start there then. What's it like to die? Okay. The first thing that happens when someone dies is they feel very cold. And the next instant, they find themselves standing next to the body. They're out of the body that fast. They said it's just like getting up from that chair and sitting down in the other chair. It's so quick and easy. So you're out of the body that fast, and the person might be standing there next to the body looking down at it. And I had one woman, she was an old woman, but she died of natural causes. She looked down and she said, "Gee, I didn't know I looked that bad." She said, "It's so good to be out of there." To be tied to that old thing anymore. There's so many restrictions when you're in the body. When you're out of it, it's just total freedom. So believe me, they don't mind dying at all. It's a good experience. Once they're out of that body, they're not afraid. They don't even care anything about the body. Because they said, now I can go anywhere I want. All I have to do is think it and I'm there. It's wonderful. I'm not tied to that thing anymore. Because when you're in the body, you're very restricted. But once you're out of it, you can go anywhere, you can do anything you want. So the first thing after you die, if you realize you're dead, now, you'll never, ever alone. It's another fear people have. You're never alone. You're never alone all through your life either, but you don't realize that. When you were born, you have a guide or guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. It has many different names all over the world. I prefer guide, but some people like guardian angel. Of course, in Asia, they would call it something else. But you have one assigned to you when you're born. Their job is to be with you your whole entire life. They're there to help you and guide you, protect you. It's their job. So when you die, you may have friends and relatives come to meet you. I call this the greeter. There's always someone comes. I call it the greeter. And it may be a relative that you love that's come to meet you and take you. If not, your guide will always be there to take you where you're supposed to go, so you don't have to ever worry about being alone. You can't possibly get lost anyway. So, But your guide is also there to help you, and they keep saying they're there to help you and assist you. That's their job, is to help you all through life. If you need anything, if you want anything, all you have to do is tell them, and they'll do it for you. They'll go and get it. They'll make sure you have whatever you want. But so many people think they're all alone. They don't have anybody. But they said, we're here to assist. But if you don't ask us for assistance, we don't have anyone to assist. Because you have free will. They can never go against your free will. So if you need anything, you just have to be quiet and ask them. I need help. This is what I need. Boy, do they love that. They're being acknowledged, and they will take it and run with it. They'll do things you can't believe to get you what you want. What you don't understand is the universe is there to help you. Its job is to make sure you get what you want out of life. But you have to ask. Because of free will, they can't just come in and do anything. But anyway, when you die, the greeter is there to help you once you're out of the body. And they're going to take you where you're supposed to go. First thing they take you is usually down the tunnel. There's all kinds of ways. A lot of have heard so many different near-death experiences of different ways that they go. But you probably heard them too. That anyone who's, how many have had near-death experience? There's always been a lot of people in the audience. There's probably more of you than that, really. And you know, when you have a near-death experience, you always go toward a white light. Thing is, you never reach that white light. You're turned around and sent back for whatever reason. Because a near-death experience, you don't really die. You go so far, and then you got to come back. But in the real death, you go all the way. So you go toward this beautiful white light, and this is a huge energy source. And when you go through that white light, your silver cord is dissolved at that time. Now you know you all have a silver cord, don't you? The silver cord connects you to your body your entire lifetime. And so somebody asked me a while ago about dreams of flying. Every night you go out of your body. You never stay in your body. Every night you're off flying, you're off having all kinds of adventures. Because the body's what gets tired. The soul never gets tired. Imagine be awful bored sitting around waiting for the body to wake up so you can get on with what you've got to do. So the soul doesn't get tired, so while the body is sleeping, you're off having all kinds of adventures. All over the world, seeing anything you want, other planets, other dimensions, or going to the spirit side and talking to your guides and the masters and discussing your plans. You're off having all kinds of adventures. But you usually don't remember doing this unless you're having dreams of flying, or dreams of being in strange, unfamiliar places. That's the only way you will remember it. Otherwise, this is a common thing that happens every night. And then toward morning, it's time for us to come back into our body, so you're reeled in with the silver cord. You're brought back into your body when it's time to wake up and continue your life. Okay. So whenever you go through this huge energy source, that is when the silver cord is dissolved. At that point, you cannot go back to the body again. Up until that time you can, and that's what the near-death experiences are. They go so far and then they're brought back. They'll say, it's not time. You got to go back and finish something. It's not time for you to go yet. But once that silver cord has been dissolved, the connection with the body is gone. And you can't return. So after that happens, then you have to continue on the other side. And the first thing they will do, the greeters will take you before the board. And the board is the masters, the elders, and your guides, guardian angels, all these people that know you extremely well. They know what you were supposed to do when you came in. They know your plan. They know your contracts. They know everything about you. There are no secrets. So they're sitting up there, and they're going to do a life review over you. It's important to remember when you get over there, there's no one sitting on a throne who's going to judge you and throw you into hell. First thing, there isn't any hell. There isn't any hell, there's no devil. It's hot there? Okay. There's nobody sitting on a throne that's going to judge you and throw you into hell. It doesn't happen. You judge yourself. And there's no harsher judge than you yourself. They show you your life that you've lived. They show you everything you have done, everything you have said, every thought that you have thought. And there's no judgment from them at all. They're just showing it to you. You look at it, and then you usually say, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have said that. Because while they're showing you the life review, they're also showing you how it affected everyone else that you ever came into contact with. You're getting it from their viewpoint of the other person, how they felt when you said something or when you did something. And you say, I didn't know I hurt them like that. I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done it. But now you're getting to see what it's really like. And you don't get out of this. You have to have the full life review. And that's where karma comes into play. He said, I shouldn't have done that. I gotta make up for that. I gotta make amends for that because I've created karma with that person by doing something I shouldn't have done. That's what karma is. There's also good karma. But you're the one that judge yourself. You're the one that decides how you're going to repay it and what you're going to do to repay it. That's your decision. They'll help you with it, but you still got to do it yourself. Now, there's a whole lot of places on the spirit side that you can go to, but first they're always going to do the life review, and then they'll decide how long you're going to stay over there or how quick do you have to come back according to everything else that's going to be worked out. One place that some people go to is called the resting place. In the resting place, there are no sounds, nothing, no colors or anything. You're totally without. Those are for people who have maybe died very traumatically, or they've had a very bad life. Not bad, I mean very, there is no bad, there is no good. But I mean, uncomfortable life. Let's say they've had a hard experience, so life has been hard on them. So they need time to rest. That happens, you're sent to the resting place for however long it takes you to recover from the death or whatever it is. Then you're set back on the wheel again. It's always up to you. It can take a year, it can take hundreds of years until you're ready to process. You don't get out of anything. But the resting place is a good place to just get off for a while and relax. Okay, now I found 3 different places that you can go to when you cross over. The first one is called the lower astral. I don't think anybody here is going to go to the lower astral. That's not the place you want to be. The lower astral, those are beings who have done terrible things in this life. And, you know, they are not going to be able to get right back on the wheel again because they have to have time over there to resolve what they did wrong. But those are people who have done bad things. And a lot of times when they die, they don't even know they have died. All they know is physical. They just know physical sensations, and that's what they want to get back into. Like some of them, they were shown who were drug addicts. When they die, they don't know they've died. And all they can think of is, I want to get those sensations again. So they'll be wandering around in the spirit side, finding people who are on drugs, who are doing things like that, so they can have the same experience by osmosis, by being around them. You can't really take the drugs, but they want to be around those kind of people, because that's how they have made their life. It's such a terrible state. So they stay on the lower astral. And many of them don't know they've died, and they're just wandering around, lost. And the greeter will be there to take them where they're supposed to go, but they don't pay any attention to them, because they don't think they're dead. After a while, though, they said it gets boring. I can't get the same sensations I did while I was alive. It's not any fun anymore. Then they begin to realize they're not in a body. And at that point, then the greeter take them where they're supposed to go. And they have to go through a rehabilitation program before they'll be allowed to come back. You can't come back that fast. You've got to figure out, why did I put myself into this situation? What did I do with my life that made things turn out so badly? So you don't come back right away. That's the lower astral. I don't think anybody here is going to be going there. Okay. The other place is the middle astral, which most people usually end up there, especially the church people. That's the version. That's the church's version of heaven. It's very beautiful. There's mountains and hills and all of these different types of houses. And there's usually beautiful flower gardens and a beautiful lake. And they have the most beautiful flowers you could possibly imagine. The colors are unbelievable. Because they said, I said, well, is it like a reflection of Earth's flowers? They said, oh no, Earth's reflection. Earth's flowers are a very poor reflection of what it's really about. Over there, the colors are so vibrant and strong. They said, if you could imagine a rose, that would never die. The flowers, the petals would never fall off. A perfect flower. That's what's in these gardens. They're just beautiful. And there's music in the air. It's a very beautiful place. And of course, when you cross over, they think, well, they want to be with their family and their loved ones. So if you want to have a house like you just came from and live with your relatives that have crossed over, you can have that. That's what I'm saying. It's like the church's version of heaven. If you want to live in a castle, they'll give you that. It's up to you. You can create anything you want. If you want a castle or if you want a house like you just left. And you think, wow, this is wonderful. I'm going to be here for eternity. Except it doesn't. That's not the way it works. But they're enjoying themselves. So then eventually somebody comes knocking at the door. Time for you to go up before the board. We got to plan your next life. No, I'm happy here. This is perfectly fine. I want to stay right here. But you can't do it because you have to go back and repay things. You don't get out of it until you're done. So then they have to go up before the board and they got to figure out what they have to do the next time. That's the middle astral, which is beautiful, but not quite what people think it's going to be. Then there's the upper astral, which is my favorite place of all. The upper astral is where all the schools are, and the universities up there, and the libraries are tremendous. There's all knowledge of everything that ever was and everything that ever will be is in those libraries. I've gotten a lot of my information from those libraries. A person will go there and ask the librarian to find us different books on different things. But the libraries are beautiful. They have the tapestry room. If you read my books, it's in between death and life about these different parts. About the tapestry room was a tapestry of time. They have one part is the healing chamber. If you die of a serious illness, you're sent there first. And they show long lines of people going in. And it's a beautiful domed building. And on the top of the dome are all of these different colored gems. And the light shines through these. And it makes a beautiful, different colored circles on the floor. So people are led in there. There's lots of guides in all these places. Guardian of the library, a guardian of the tapestry room, a guardian of the healing temple. They take you one by one, and you stand in the center, and you're washed over by this tremendous light energy, and it washes away any residue that you're carrying over from the physical life. So it's beautiful. They told me I could do a great service for people by telling them they could go there anytime you want while you're in the physical body. If you want healing, if you want help, you can go there too, because it describes what it looks like. I said, how will they know the difference? They say they see your silver cord trailing behind you, they know you're still alive. But you can have healing by standing in the healing center. But I like the upper astral because of all of the different parts and the wonderful. They have classes and schools, and the library is my favorite place. But anyway, these are all places you can go to. But here again, you'll only stay there for as long as you need to, because you have to come back and pay back. That's what the life review is about, and you decide, well, I shouldn't have done this. I've got to come back and repay it. So before you come back, you meet with your board and make a plan that you're going to try to accomplish. You hope you will accomplish when you come back. You know, they say best laid plans of mice and men. You come in with all your plans, then you get in here, it doesn't always work out that way because human beings are involved, the other humans. So that's why they don't expect you to do it all in one lifetime. They said, don't try. Some people come back, they say, I want to do it all. They want to take a whole lot of karma on all at one time. And they say it's not a good idea. You pie your plate too full. It's like going to college and not leaving any room for extracurricular activities. You just burn yourself out. So it's better if you said, you just do what you can. That's all you're expected to do. You can always finish the rest next time. But if some of them are determined, I'm going to do it all now, well then, they'll say, well, we'll help you, but you're going to have a hard time. That's what's happening to a lot of people. They took on too much. I don't want to come back again. I want to get it finished. So they took on too much in one lifetime. But you make a plan of what you hope to accomplish when you come back the next time. And you make contracts. Suppose you hurt someone in that last lifetime and you think, well, I know I shouldn't have done that. I got to repay that. You make contracts with them to come back and meet them again. Oh, this is where it's so funny because they will help you with these contracts, the other souls. When I've taken people through the death sequence on their past lives, they get to the other side. Some of them look back and they'll say, it was just a play. I see all the actors on stage playing their parts. I see the actors in the wings getting ready to come on stage to play their parts. It was just a play. But while I was there, it was so important and I got so involved in it. But now that I'm over here, it was like a blink of an eye. It wasn't real. That's what you got to remember. Life is an illusion. It's just a game. It's just a play. Just an illusion. We take it too seriously. We don't realize the power we have. So, you are the producer, director, and actor in your own play. You're also the script writer, but the script isn't written. It's written as it goes along. That's why you can change it at any time if you don't like the way the script is going. That's how much power you have. Does that make sense, or is that kind of a startling new revelation? Everything is an illusion. Sometimes when I'm getting more longer, complicated lectures, we're getting into these convoluted universe material. You want to go further with this. This building we're in didn't even exist until we collectively decided to come here today. And collectively, we created it with our minds. When we leave, it disappears again. Does that bend your mind a little? I say, what have I done to your world?
You forgot to bring any secret with us in our minds.
That's why I say the convoluted universe books are for people who want their minds bent like pretzels. Because we're always coming up with weird concepts you haven't even thought about. But if everything is an illusion, everything is a hologram, you created it and you can change it. But when you look back at your life and do the life review and you're talking to all these people that were in it with you, you're saying, well, we didn't do such a good job last time, did we? Let's go back and do it again. This time you be the husband, I'll be the wife. Or you be the mother, I'll be the child. You can switch roles around any way you want because it's just a play. The person in your life right now that may be causing you the most problems, your biggest enemy, may have been your greatest friend on the other side. And while you're making your plans, he'll say, hey, I want to play the bad guy this time. Say, okay. So he decides to play the villain. Every play has to have a villain, a bad guy. And then when you die again, they'll say, I was a pretty good bad guy, didn't I? I played a good part there. Pretty good at my role. In that case, they don't incur any karma because they've agreed to do it to help you out. So a lot of times the one that we really can't get along with is the one that's our greatest teacher, if you really look at it. But you can change the roles around any way you want. And you make a contract with that person, or you're going to be my mother, or you're going to be my daughter, or you'll be my friend, and I'll meet you here on this street corner. We'll bump into each other, and then after that, we'll end up being friends. Nothing is by accident. It's always all set up, and you put it all in place before you come back. But when we get back here, and you're going through the birth process, the veil comes down. That's the veil Julia was talking about. The veil of forgetfulness. Because I asked them one time, wouldn't it be a lot easier if we knew why we were here? We knew our purpose, our plan. And if we knew our contracts with these other people, wouldn't that be easier? I said, no, it wouldn't be a test if you knew the answers. So you've got to come in, the veil comes down, you forget. You know, we're the only planet in the universe that does that. I told you we were unique. There's many things we only do on Earth that we don't do anywhere else in the universe. Now the other beings have these problems. They remember everything. but we're the only one that forgets when we come in. So we have to stumble our way back. We forget we came from God. We forget this whole thing is a game. We forget we set it up, the circumstances. And we're just stumbling our way back, trying to find our way back to what it's all about. So it takes a long time. So it's important now, things are speeding up. People are understanding more and they're understanding quicker than they used to. I was talking about the internet generation. They're learning much faster than they used to. That's important. We're not going to be stumbling around in the dark as much as we used to do. So we're finally beginning to change it all around. But you learn so much by coming to Earth. But over there, like on the upper astral, where all knowledge is, and I said, well, you have all this knowledge over there. Why can't we just learn it all there? Why do we have to come back to Earth, which is so hard? They said because it's like book learning versus hands-on learning. You can go to college and take courses like chemistry. You can read the book on chemistry, but do you really know it until you go into the laboratory and start mixing chemicals? You have to have hands-on. Or you can read about how to tear a car engine apart, but do you really learn anything until you go and tear it apart yourself and take the pieces out and put them back together? That's book learning versus hands-on learning. That's the difference. So when you come to Earth, it's hands-on and it's very difficult. And they always say, well, you know, they discourage them to come back to Earth and they'll say, oh, I can handle that. With book learning, oh, emotions are easy. Love, hate, jealousy, I can handle all that. It doesn't seem too hard to do. Easy to say that, but then you get in the situation, hands-on, where you're experiencing those emotions and those feelings, it's not that easy. We're getting the feedback from everybody else. You see the difference between book learning and hands-on? That's why it's very important for you to come to Earth to learn these things. But you could stay over there, but it would be eternities later before you would finally get it all. And you still wouldn't learn the relationship between people like you do when you come to Earth. So it's a complicated process here. I know there's a lot more I needed to say here, but if I think of it, it'll come up. But you see, it's a lot more complicated than you think it is. Part of your plan you make also when you come back into a life, part of that plan is your exit plan. You plan how you're going to exit, how you're going to die. Nobody ever dies until it's their time to die. That's why it doesn't do any good to try to keep somebody alive when their time has already come. They decide how they're going to die, when they're going to die. And nothing can change that. I found you can delay it a little bit if you want something you want to do in there, but otherwise, you've already set it into motion. This is when it's going to happen. This is how it's going to happen. Many people die in groups. As you know, you've seen that on the news. They decide to come in together. We're all going to die in this tsunami, or we'll all die in this earthquake together, because they've all been together in other lives and decided, let's come in a group, we're going to go out in a group. You know, like even with a lot of situations you hear when one or two people they didn't die because they didn't get there for some reason, because they weren't supposed to be there. It's really amazing how all of it is so planned out, is so precise. We're left in the dark because we don't understand the whole process. But it's very beautiful and very clear once you understand it. I can't figure out why the churches don't teach these things. To me, they make so much sense. Instead, they make you think when you die you're going to hell, or you're going to have all these other horrible things happen to you. Anyway, but don't get me started on that. Okay. I know there's a lot more I can go into, and it probably will be brought up when we get into questions here.